Good morning. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode on dogs need space. So, let's talk about dogs need space for a wide variety of reasons. Only, because if you have a pet that's injured or if you have a pet that is shy around other dogs, they can show behaviors that are not necessarily a good thing, right? Because if you have a pet that runs up on a dog and your dog is off leash and their dog is on a leash, you may alarm, or your pet may alarm that pet by maybe reacting in a certain way that may injure the pet. All right, so let's get started. So there's a couple ways. There are a couple things that require your pet to have, there are a couple reasons why they need space, right? So if you walk your cheerful, friendly 2-year-old retriever off leash and your neighbor has their dog on a leash, they might be, it might be a little daunting and painful if the arthritic retriever and their owner experiences your dog running up on them, and it might alarm them, right? So, what if you come across the dog that has a healing bone injury, right? Your friendly Labrador retriever runs up on them, threatens them, or it could threaten your dog, their dog, and it could be detrimental to the dog's operation and recovery, right? Consider if you have a shy rescue dog, your dog runs up on them, and your retriever, the neighbor's retriever reacts a certain way. They might be scared, right? The tail might be between their legs. They might be shocked that you're coming up on them. So it's always good to consider your neighbor's thoughts on that as well. All right. Be mindful about your pet's size, right? So if you have a Great Dane and your neighbor has a little Chihuahua, then that might be a little bit overwhelming for your Chihuahua, right? They might be scared. So you have to be a responsible pet owner to consider your own dog and the potential impact it has on the other dogs, regardless of your dog's intentions, right? You have a good dog, they mean well, but you never know, right? So always consider the potential impact it has on other dogs, right? All right. So also, besides that, you also want to consider that Pennsylvania leash law. Uh, you should always obey the leash laws unless you're going to a leashless park that has a bunch of dogs running around. You also want to, and I'll get to that in a second. Uh, let's consider, why dogs need space. You might have a working or a service dog. You might have a dog that's recovering from injury or illness. You might want to consider that the dog is maybe going through some leash training, right? You also want to consider the physical conditions like old age, arthritis, and injuries, right? Um, Animals who don't like other creatures. So you may have a Chihuahua, but they may not. They might be protective around you, and they don't like any other dogs. Excuse me. Um, so, excuse me. So they might be fearful of other people. Consider about elderly and aging, training about self control around other dogs, right? Afraid of high energy dogs, right? You may have a high energy dog and they might be afraid of other high energy dogs, right? Um, let's see. What about owners? Oh, there's my dog. You want to say hello? She's pretty chill. Bailey, say hello to our friends. She's a high energy dog sometimes, but um, I try to keep her separated around other people or other pets because she gets a little rambunctious sometimes. So, yeah, uh, other dog owners they want to be left alone, so consider that. Uh, Things to do when pets need space, right? Obey the leash laws. Dogs should be kept on leashes at all times, except in designated off leash areas, right? Dogs that our leash may feel vulnerable if your pet your pet runs up on a pet that might be leashed, right? Always ask for permission, whether if you're dog walking or if you are in a public area. Ask for permission of the pet owner. May I pet your dog, please? You know, it's always common courtesy. You don't want to just reach your hands down there. He could nip you. Then that person might have a liability issue, right? So always ask, can my dog say hi, right? Listen to and respect the owner's response. Sorry, no, my dog needs space. You need to respect that and just walk away. Walk the other direction. Let the dog needing its own territory pass without interaction. So, yeah, they tell you, no, please don't touch my dog. Without, interaction, just walk the other way, right? Appreciate everyone's area. So if an owner is in an area and they're spending alone time with them and they want to be left alone, so be it. They were there first, right? If you allow your dog in an off-leash, approved, labeled area, make sure your puppy has reliable recall direction, right? You don't, if, you have a new puppy and they don't know the word come, that's a problem, so avoid it, right? Always be alert of pup and activities. So if your best friend starts to look anxious or in a bad position that develops, you want to remove your pooch calmly away from the circumstance, right? So just keep that in mind. Hands on the leash at all times. If there is an issue, you can quickly remove your loved one from the dispute, right? Things to avoid, right? Do not allow your dog to approach, hassle, or chase a dog that needs space. If you have a restless or a combative dog, avoid off-leash parks. Don't do it, okay? Do not allow your dog to run up on other dogs, especially if leashed, right? The leash pet is weakened in that position when your dog runs up on them, right? Evade situations that seem out of control. A dog park with highly provoked dogs can quickly turn into a fatal setting, all right? I've seen it before where you have all large dogs, small dogs come in, they all act as a pack and they start attacking little dogs. I've seen it before and they have been fatal. So keep that in mind. And, with that said, I think this should be exciting for you to learn these new things. I know I've been excited to just let you know a couple tips of mine. And if you need any kind of emergency dog sitting service, visit us on sittersforcritters.com. All right. Thank you for joining us on this lovely, cool, happy Friday. Have a great day. Bye.